User pause is giving priority to the wants and needs of the users. This means that the priorities of the owner will be secondary. Of course, it's still important to achieve the purpose for which the website exists, such as selling product, but it needs to be done in a way that focuses on the user. Design focus cultural props. Traditional ethnography has involved watching people and being present. There is always a disruptive effect when someone is watching, but in say an office after a while the ethnographer becomes part of the wallpaper and most activity carry on as normal. However, in some environments, for example, the home or with psychiatric patients, it is hard to go and watch people for long periods, if at all. Cultural props have been used as one way to gather rich views on an area without in, intrusion. These were originally developed as prompts for design 146 but have also been adopted as an added method for ethnographic 170. Cultural props are small packs of item designed to provoke and record comments in various ways. They are given to people to take away and to open and use in their own environment. For example, one prob pack for the domestic environment includes a glass with a paper sleeve. You use the glass to listen to things and then write down what you hear. The same prob the same prob pack contains uh, repackaged disposable camera and small solid-state voice record. When the packs are returned, that notes, recordings, photos etc. are used as means of understanding what is significant and important for the people in the environment and as means of enculturing designers. Design focus is a method of user-centered design. It can be conducted to discuss ideas, concepts, routines with people. Additionally, it could also be a discussion about experience with a product or opinions about future product.
Scenario. Scenario is written outline of a movie, novel, or stage work giving details of the plot and individual scenes. But no alternative reels interaction have choices, some made by people, some by systems. A simple scenario does not show these alternative paths. In particular, it is easy to miss the unintended things a person may do. What will user want to do? Step-by-step walkthrough. What can they see? What do they do? What are they thinking? Scenarios are stories for design, rich stories of interaction. They are perhaps the simplest design representation, but one of the most flexible and powerful. Some scenarios are quite short. In additional scenarios can be used to communicate with others, validate others' models, express dynamics, time is linear, no alternatives. Communicate with others, other designers, clients, or user. It is easy to misunderstand each other while discussing abstract ideas. Concrete example of use are far easier to share. Most people think about speech when they are think about communication, but there are many other ways we can also use to communicate with each other. First is facial expression, gesture, pointing or using hands, writing, drawing, and also using equipment. Example is text message or computer, touch, and eye contact. Validate other models. A detailed scenario can be played against various more formal representations such as task models. Models can be validated by comparing output to independent field or experimental data sets that align with the simulated scenario. We have three types of validation. A. Prospective validation or pre-market validation. B. Retrospective validation. C. Concurrent validation. Express dynamics. Individual screenshots and pictures give you a sense of what a system would look like, but not how it behaves. An interaction design pattern is a template that describes a commonly encountered interactive scenario. For example, software applications commonly deal with the situation where a user has made a choice and later decides that the choices was wrong. A pattern for this scenario might include the following steps. Click the back or on the button. Restore any modified data to the state it was before the choice was made. Restore the screen to the state it was before the choice was made. Have the application scan for user input like it was before the errand choice was made. It is important to realize that these steps. Time linear. Our lives are linear as we live in time, and so we find it easier to understand simple linear narratives. We are natural storytellers and story listeners. From the perspective of physical matter with a definite shape and structure, time is linear. Linear time is time that is perceived by the human senses as a referential point that has beginning and an end. At their most basic, linear scenarios are the series of multiple choice questions arranged alongside scene settings content. The learner is introduced to a scenario and posed with a problem or question where they need to make a decision. No alternatives. Alternatives and scenario analysis is evaluation of potential solutions and land use scenarios to develop project proposals that meet the community's vision, address transportation deficiency, and minimize impacts to natural and human environment.
Navigation design. Widget is an element of graphical user interface that display information or provide a specific way for a user interact with the operating system or application. Choosing the right widgets and the right phrasing for menus and button will help you understand how to utilize them for a certain option of action. Widgets include the following icon: pull down menus, button, selection boxes, program indicator, on-off checkmark scroll bar window, window X the length of the size, the window toggle button and devices for supplying information, inviting, accepting, and responding to user action. Screen. Screen to use display the output of a computer to the user. You need to know where items are on the screen and how the buttons are logically arranged. Navigation within the application. Navigation refers to the interaction that allow user to navigate across into the back out from the different pieces of a content within your apps. To know where you are in the interaction, you must be able to predict what will happen when a button is touched. Environment. Environment refers to the state a computer determined by a combination of software basic, hardware, which program are running. The word processor must read files from the sum of which might be distant network. Example, if a program is running in a Windows environment, it means this program is utilizing the Windows operating system. Two main kind of instructor issues. Local instructor. The looking from the one screen of page out. Global structure. The structural to site or the movement between screen. Let's tackle local instruction more. Here are the things to start searching for, examining a single web page and screen or device state, knowing your location, knowing your capabilities, knowing your destination, what will occur, knowing where you've been or what you have done. Design focus. Moves. Moves in general are less of an issue or window system because the current window you can remember which one it is made to the move of use. For example, the look feature or Alan phone card again unintentional use to hit must hit the C cancel button to release the lock. With prompt second you to acknowledge the release of the lock and lock move Alan pulls in his phone, his pocket and say, she followed by yes guys of lock and they are most frequent. See, however, due the forgetfulness, Alan occasionally has his phone unlocked in his pocket. This causes occasionally awkward phone call which causes another issue. The yes button is rather light to change presses. It will keeping it in the pocket when you do this. The phone enter dial recent number move and display a list of your recent call. Unfortunately, this frequency result in him automatically pressing CS the take the phone of this packet in the move. Pressing C prompt the user enter phone number and then selecting yes, delete the number from the phone contact book. Yes only to see the word. Number remove. Peacefully writing on the handset as the lockdown eventually there is not undo. Global structure. Hierarchical organization. Hierarchical organization is a technique to set up a system. This is often divided to different types of items according to function limit, but it can also be categorized according to the rules, user type, or other more general criteria of model in an operation system. Dialogue. The dialogue in HCI usage describe the pattern of the user-system interaction. Consider the following fragment from marriage service. Mr. Reed, do you name this man? Man mean I do. Minister, do you name take this man? Woman, I don't minister. Minister, I know pronouns human and wife. Notice how the name of the bride husband are the left, yet the basic flow of the service is describe a result, provide pattern on your parties communicate, but it is in sense differently for each service. The transition between the primary state of device window and PC application follow general patterns that are consistent across run, although the specific change. Hierarchical organization is one technique to set up systems is often divided into different types of according to function limit, but I can solve categorize according to rules, user type, other more general criteria as model in the operation system. Using a network diagram with the main state or screen connected with arrow, a straightforward method that way. Demonstrate what led to what. Show what occurred when, include branches and loop. Be more task-oriented than hierarchy. No man is island in and on himself. This also applies to the things we create. It's surrounded by other hardware and software, and other design must take this into account. Effect. Style concern to ensure consistency between program we solve typically adhere to platform standard or source. As the location of menu on a PC application, for instance, we solve employ conventional please post fast forward symbol on where proposed personal mobile player. Issues with navigation is possible that will need to support between apps hosts allow data from the application to embedded in the under or in a email. Symbol enabling double click and attachment symbol to launch the appropriate application for attachment. One of the internet we also face the challenge potentially from the website and web application the escape homepage or other page and go straight to in the core of the website or web application. Additional, we have no control over the link register or how their content may change over time.
Screen design refers to the graphic design and layout of user interface on displays. It is a sub-area of user interface design but is limited to monitor and displays. In screen design, the focus is on maximizing usability and user experience by making user interaction as simple and efficient as possible. Screen layouts determine the overall structure of your screen. They define the structure of a harness included in a composite portal. A harness can contain only one screen layout. A screen layout is comprised of the following: a main area. In the case of interface design, these elements are the information, functional, framing, and decorative parts of the screen. Thoughtful placement of these elements helps to guide and inform your users about the relative importance of the information and functions. Proximity. In layout design is a technique to show relevance between elements by consciousness, bringing those that are relative to each other, like headings and associated paragraphs, closer in distance. Alignment and repetition are techniques that can help you create the base of a page layout. Arranging elements in row by how they are relative can direct the flow of information. Repetition is a technique of representing information consistently on a website by repeating a fixed design or style pattern within a website by repeating headings, buttons, and icon patterns. You can dictate the personality and overall look and feel of the websites, as well as improve the association your users have with elements on the site and boost recognition. Contrast helps emphasize the difference between elements on a website, and it is used as a means to add a distinctiveness to the design of individual elements. Proximity, alignment, repetition, and contrast are regarded as some of the basic principles of layout design and are effective techniques for improving visual hierarchy and readability, thus leaving a strong impression on the user. These are the techniques that aren't just restricted to web design, but can be used in the production of any visual design to produce a sophisticated result. What is white space in design? White space, also known as negative space, is empty space around the content and functional elements of a page. The basic role of white space is to let your design breathe by reducing the amount of text and functional elements that users see at once. Why white space is important in designing? White space not only creates harmony, balance, and helps to brand a design, it can also be used to lead a reader from one element to another. Our main goals are to make the website look simple and uncluttered and to deliver information that our readers will enjoy and appreciate.
Appropriate appearance. Definition of appropriate appearance refers to the way information is relayed or presented on a interface screen. Where do we need it? Designing website. Designing interactive interface such as TV, sunscreen, newspaper, books, magazine. These are the example. aesthetic and utility. Remember that a pretty interface is not necessarily a good interface. Ideally, as with any well-designed item, an interface should be aesthetically pleasing indeed. Good graphic design and an attractive display can increase user satisfaction and thus improve productivity. However, beauty and utility may sometimes be at odds. For example, an industrial control panel will often be built up the individual control subsystem, some designed by different teams, some bought in. The resulting inconsistency in appearance may look a mess and suggest tidying up. Certainly, some of this consistency may cause problem. For example, there may be a mix of telephone style and calculator style numeric keypads. Under stress, it would be easy to miss when swapping between these. However, the diversity of control can also help the operator keep track of which control refers to which subsystem. Any redesigning must preserve this advantage. Localization internationalization. Localization internationalization. If you travel to different countries, you frequently see a document being word processed, where the text of document and the file names are in the local language, but all the menus and instructions are still in English. The process of making software suitable for different language and culture is called localization or internationalization.
Iteration and prototyping. Iterative design and prototyping is a repeating cycle of designing, prototyping, testing, and refining multiple versions or iterations of a product. It differs from traditional design in that it is more collaborative and you can refine the design as you go. Prototyping is a source of producing new ideas to generate user interface. In this paper, different tools used for supporting the prototyping described because it is need of successful projects. Prototyping as a large scale considered as experimental activity in order to reduce risk of any product. Prototyping serves to provide a specification for a real working system rather than theoretical one. In some workplace models, creating a prototype, a process sometimes called materialization, is a step between the formalization and evaluation of an idea. Because human situations are complex and designers are not infallible, it is likely that our first design will not be perfect. For this reason, almost all interaction design includes some forms or iteration of ideas. This often starts early on with paper design and storyboards being demonstrated to colleagues and potential users. Later, in the design process, one might use mock-ups of physical device or tools such as Shockwave or Visual Basic to create prototype version of software. Any of these prototypes, whether paper-based or running software, can then be evaluated to see whether they are acceptable and where there is room for improvement. This sort of evaluation intended to improve designs is called formative evaluation. This is in contrast to summative evaluation, which is performed at the end to verify whether the product is good enough. A really good designer might guess a good initial design based on experience and judgment. However, the complexity of interaction design problems means that this insight is hard. Another approach, very common in graphical design, it is to have several initial design ideas and drop them one by one as they are developed further. This is a bit like parachuting 10 people at random points on the earth. One of them is perhaps likely to end up near a high mountain. Role of prototyping. Prototyping serves to provide a specification for a real working system rather than a theoretical one. In some workflow models, creating a prototype, a process sometimes called materialization, is the step between the formalization and evaluation of an idea.